When Eleanor returned to the kitchen, Will Parker was gone. Thomas was still in his high chair, discontented now that his biscuit was gone. She experienced a curious stab of disappointment. He'd run away. Well, what did you expect? Then, from outside, she heard the sound of retching. The sun had gone behind the pines, taking its light with it. Eleanor stepped onto the sagging back stoop and heard him vomiting. "You stay inside, Donald Wade." She pushed the boy back and closed the screen door. Though he started crying, she ignored him and walked to the top of the rotting steps. "Mr. Parker, are you sick?" She didn't want any sickly man. He straightened with an effort, his back to her. "No, ma'am." "But you're throwing up." He gulped a refreshing lungful of night air, threw back his head, and dried his forehead with a sleeve. "I'm all right now. It's just those green apples." "What green apples?" "I ate green apples for lunch." "A grown man should have more sense," she retorted. "Sense didn't enter into it, ma'am. I was hungry." She stood in the semi-dark, hugging Glendon Dinsmore's pillow against her swollen stomach, watching and listening as another spasm hit Will Parker, and he doubled over. But there was nothing more inside him to come up. She left the pillow on the porch rail and crossed the beaten earth to stand behind his slim, stooping form. He braced both hands on his knees, trying to catch his breath. His vertebrae stood out like stepping stones. She reached out a hand as if to lay it on his back, but thought better of it, and crossed her arms tightly beneath her breasts. He straightened, muscle by muscle, and blew out a shaky breath. "Why didn't you say something?" she asked. "I thought it'd pass." "You had no supper then?" He didn't answer. "No dinner either?" Again he remained silent. "Where did you get them apples?" "I stole them off somebody's tree. A pretty little place down along the main road between here and the sawmill, with pink flowers on a tree stump." "Tom Marsh's place. And good people, too. Well, that'll teach you a lesson." She turned back toward the steps. "Come on back in the house and I'll fix you something." "That's not necessary, ma'am. I'm not—" Her voice became sharper. "Get back in the house, Will Parker, before your foolish pride pushes your ribs right through your thin skin."